Yeah, so absolutely excited to have Nick, one third of Sons of the East. Man, how have things been for you?
Good man, good. I'm down south, a couple hours south of Sydney at the moment. So I'm having a couple of days off from the hustle and bustle of releasing the album and everything. But it's been really good.
Yeah, so you guys are, all from Australia, born and raised. So what you specifically, I guess, what music kind of were your parents listening to? What music was just playing in the house when you were a kid? And did that music kind of influence like the music you wanted to make now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, still to this day, I spend a lot of time listening to music with mum and dad.
Mm.
There was a lot of the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, a lot of the Stones, Steely Dan, like quite a wide range of stuff.
Yeah.
And and I think that the sort of fun part about it is each one of us has had those experiences of growing up with our parents with slightly different music. For Jack, I know he was listening to a lot of Johnny Cash and a lot of
Mhm.
Dylan, um, and then as we grew older, started to sort of branch out as you do into our generation's music. And I mean, my first concert that I went to was actually Green Day.
Nice.
And just yeah, so I started getting into Green Day, and Jack Johnson on the other end of the spectrum. And yeah, so it was pretty eclectic. And
Yeah.
you know, uh, it's definitely sort of mum and dad's music has laid the groundwork for what our music has become.
Yeah. So, you guys have been releasing music for, geez, over a decade now. And I guess, in that time, you've kind of seen a lot come through, I guess, in that like indie folk genre where you guys kind of really sit. And it feels like recently there's been like a pretty big like resurgence back into it, or maybe I'm overstating it, but what do you think that has kind of contributed to that feels like resurgence kind of into that genre?
Yeah, yeah, it's a funny thing. I mean, I for us when we began, Spotify was somewhat in its infancy, and I think that that surge, that massive surge of streaming that's taken off in the last 10, 15 years has played some part of it because um, the one part of it that I can really think of is the cafe playlist sort of thing. That's everyone wants a bit of folk music for their
Right.
cafe or restaurant or whatever it is. And I reckon that's honestly become a part of it. But I think for us, um, a lot of it's just come through just a fair bit of legwork, touring as relentlessly as we can, and that's starting to pay off. I mean, it takes a while. It takes a lot of touring and a lot of time in venues and stuff, but it does start to pay off eventually.
Yeah. So I think I understand, right? You guys' music took off really in the States and like Europe first, right? And you guys like are you guys still relatively unknown in Australia itself, or have you like recently kind of, gotten the flowers you deserve kind of in your home?
Honestly, I reckon most people who I speak to, um, it's starting to turn around. But most people I speak to still, when they go, "Oh, what do you do?" "I'm a musician." "Oh, anything that I would have heard." And you go, "I'm in a band called Sons of the East." Most people go, "Oh, cool, never heard of you." Um,
Right.
and that's, to be honest, it's kind of the norm. It's like what we've always known. Um, so I would say, given how much touring that we do overseas, our profile probably isn't as big as you might expect back home in Australia.
Yeah.
Um, which is, yeah, as I said, it's starting to sort of turn around. I mean, we're now doing our biggest headline shows that we've ever done here, and slowly starting to creep onto some of the festival scene, which is really good. But yeah, it's been a slog here in Australia as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like the music that comes out of there is a lot of like this indie rock space, so to speak, like almost like surf rock in a way.
Mm.
Um, for you guys to be like this indie folk act out of Australia, it's interesting. Um, so you guys
Yeah.
have your third studio album out, called Sons. Can you just walk me through some of the major, storylines for the album and maybe the overarching themes of it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I'll start with the name. The name came from uh, as we've gone over the years, people just have started calling us Sons. I guess Sons of the East was too long for everyone.
I want to say, yeah,
So everyone just started shortening it to Sons, which is kind of nice. It's a bit of a term of endearment, or at least we see it as a term of endearment. Um, and as we started to collect songs for this record, we it felt like this collection of songs was probably the you're always trying to I feel like you're always trying to get to something that feels you know quite genuine and sounds like you guys kind of thing.
right.
And I think that's sort of what we've done, or we've taken a step closer to on this record, is a bunch of songs that really speak to kind of not just how we record songs or how we write songs, but how we play live as well. Um, and so we settled on Sons because it just felt like this was, in a way, it even though we've had our self-titled EP, this feels uh, very very close to us musically, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and uh, and we decided to record this record in some slightly different ways. As I said before, it speaks a little bit more to how we play live. Like we would sit around in a room, put three mics up, and we'd have maybe me on an acoustic guitar, Jack on a slide, Dan on the banjo or a mandolin,
Mm.
and we'd have the speakers playing, the drums playing, the bass playing, a lot of room sounds, and just play, like just sit around as a three piece and play the music, which is quite different to how we've done it previously. Which previously we've sort of gone stacking everything on top of each other,
Mhm.
bass, like going drums, then bass, then guitar, then keys, and I think what it does sitting around and playing music like that together, um, is it breathes more life into the music. You end up actually having all of these really great imperfections in all the recordings. For example, in "It's All Right," you can actually hear there's so much spill in the guitar track. It's all like there's all drum spill in the guitar track. You can hear our producer yelling out in the background, going like, "Yeah, man!" like that's the one, like that's it. Um,
Yeah.
Same with Pour the Wine. Like um, there's a lot of liveliness in there. So and we love that because we started the band to play live. So to have a bit more of a reflection of how we sound live is great.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people in that space nowadays when they record albums are like doing that, like live room recording, and it feels like it hits home with a lot of people. And I mean, I know I love that sound more so than just like the perfected laid over tracks, right? Um, and I think
Yeah, exactly.
especially in the indie folk genre, it just feels like it fits for it, right? It feels like that's what it kind of should be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
after listening through the album, two of my favorites, "Pour the Wine," which really kind of feels like that's the kind of style of music that I found you guys through, is like songs that sound like that, and
Yeah,
then a song called "10 Days." If you could talk maybe a little bit more on "10 Days," because you kind of briefly touched on "Pour the Wine," but
yeah, of
just a
course.
little more on the story about "10 Days" and what's that about?
Yeah. I mean, 10 Days is I think probably the most sort of, I've got my nephew in the background here
Hanging out. Yeah.
hanging out. Um, yeah, 10 Days is probably one of the most uniquely kind of personal songs that I've ever written. It's one of those ones that has been, it was, to write was quite cathartic. But to to be to actually put it out into the world, was quite a hard thing to do. I mean, we've always kind of painted somewhat abstract, uh, when it comes to our lyric writing, and to have something that is actually quite, um, it speaks very much to a personal experience of mine,
Hmm.
is actually quite scary. It's effectively a story of, like, a relationship that you never really thought would would get to, the point of breaking, is sort of right at that point of breaking. um and um and yeah, so, like, it's very specific and very personal, and in a way really, really great to have something like that out in the world, because we we ended up, you know as I said, we've sort of painted by abstraction for so many of our songs, and this one's
Mhm.
very, not like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was one for me that like listening through, I'm just like, it felt a little different than what you guys, normally put out.
Mm.
So I guess, kind of again speaking to like the experience you guys have, how is like touring from when you started to touring now? What's that experience like? So obviously, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, touring probably looked a lot different than it does nowadays.
Yeah, it's been, a really, like, sort of, I'm just,
You're good.
gonna get these nephews of mine away from the screen. Yeah, it's been a really fun part of the process of being a band. Like, we've we started out this band because we love touring. It's always been, something for us that was, really, yeah, it was why we began. And so, starting out, we started out as a three piece. Um, we started with, like, a kick and an acoustic guitar and a piano and a banjo, or, like, sometimes a second guitar. And we went from that setup to a five piece. We had bass and drums come in, you know, somewhere around 2016, 2017 sort of thing. And the process of touring has really, one thing that I love about touring is that it brings the songs to life in a way you know, that you don't really expect when you're in the recording studio doing them. Like, um, every, I think every single song that we play live, there are parts of those songs where I'm like, we should have done it this way, or, there's a sort of a change in your relationship with the songs as well, um, which is really cool. But I mean, just the touring experience itself is, like, I love it. I think we all love it. It's
Yeah.
why we continue on as a band. Like, we get to, travel around, not just Australia but around the world, and meet heaps of people who have been listening to the music, and hear their stories of how they relate to it, um, which is which is like, amazing. It's a really cool experience. Hearing how the songs that we wrote have sort of formed some of the fabric of people's lives. Like, little moments, like, um, whether that's a happy moment, or whether that's kind of, uh, someone losing somebody, and a song being a cathartic kind of piece of their journey, and, that kind of stuff is really cool to hear about as well.
Yeah. Is there so like everybody talks about the grinding of tour, right? Is that ever get to you guys? Is like you, it sounds like you guys thoroughly enjoy it, but it's like I mean, being on the road for what 3 months at a time, 2 3 months at a time has to wear on you, especially with the amount of I feel like actual like long traveling you guys are doing.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It definitely does. It's one of those. It's one of those funny like human uh things where you always want what you don't have in that exact moment.
Mhm.
And touring's quite similar in that like you know right now where we've got we've got a couple months until we go back on tour, and everyone's like, "Oh, can't wait to get back on tour! Can't wait! It's gonna be
Right.
great! It's gonna be great!"
Yeah.
And then you get on tour, and within a couple of weeks, you're like, "Oh man, well, I would kill for
Right.
like my own
Just to be
bed
home.
and
Yeah.
yeah, just to be home."
Yeah.
um, and it's quite hard to strike that balance actually, but
Yeah.
it is it's pretty grueling. What's made what's made it better over the years is we've been able to build this team of really great people around us. Our our immediate team of our session guys, our tech guys, our tour managers.
Mhm.
They're they're just really great people, and I honestly think that that's the only thing that over a long period of time keeps you in the game of touring is having good people around you, because otherwise it's just not worth it. Like
Uh,
you spend months on the road, you're living in such close quarters together, and generally eating pretty poorly, sleeping pretty poorly,
uh,
drinking a little too much. And so the saving grace of it all, beyond, of course, the shows and as I said before, getting to meet people who come to the shows, is actually having that unit of, of just good people around you that you enjoy spending time with.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's been a great part of it.
Yeah, a little bit of family on the road probably goes a long way, especially if you've been touring together for so long. That has to really make the difference. I can imagine.
Yeah,
So you
100%.
guys,
Yeah,
when you guys started social media, right, wasn't really like a thing, right? 2013, maybe Facebook at the time, not even maybe.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think Facebook was just sort of coming along.
just kind of coming along.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
How have you guys transitioned well to almost feeling like you're but not only are you musicians, but promoters and social media managers and things like that.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's not just one job anymore. It's yeah,
Mhm.
you sort of have to wear the like the sort of influencer cap
All
sometimes.
the caps.
Um, yeah, exactly. I we've been really lucky. Dan, who is on the banjo, he has really taken up that role
Mhm.
for us, and he's been great with it. So he's our social media wizard. He does pretty much all of the
Does it
work
all.
on there, and but yeah, it's been he's spoken about how the transitions between you know uh, firstly it was Facebook, and I still remember like us getting 100 followers on Facebook, and we were incredibly excited by that.
Stoked, right?
And then yeah, exactly. And then it transitions to Instagram, and then like TikTok, and you sort of have to be you've got to be on the forefront of it all. Like you got to stay current.
Yeah.
Um, it's such a like you would know this just as well as we do. Like it's there is the kind of cool factor of it all that you have to like keep up with.
Yeah.
Um, but we've we've slowly but surely kind of gotten into a good rhythm of just knowing exactly what we need to deliver for social media, and like going out and doing it. And sometimes it's a bit of a pain. Sometimes you're just like, can we just record and tour and like play,
And call
play
it.
music.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like half the job is actually doing bits for social media. But by the same token, I mean, like we've been really lucky. We essentially have been able to promote our own music, our own shows, um, and build a following because of social media. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's
blessing and
really
a curse.
yeah, it's really changed. I mean, if everybody does it, obviously, but there's like some bands that literally like feel like have made it strictly because of that. Like I felt like there's a lot of good like accounts that I feel like do it really well, like bands that do it really, really well and have carved out this like niche for themselves and
Yeah,
um have like built an audience strictly around that. Which is it's interesting. And do you guys find it hard? Does like the need to have these like little clips of your songs influence how you're approaching like writing a song, or is it just kind of you write the song and kind of squeeze it into that side of things?
it's a funny one. It definitely comes into, it enters into your mind. Like as you're writing the song, you try not to. You try to go, whatever's best for the song. But like when you do it so often, when it's half the work that you do is based around social media, it does start to you do start to think about it. You start to go, oh, maybe this bit would be really good for
Mhm.
this clip on social media, and so while we try not to let it influence the writing, I think it sort of inevitably just gets into your psyche
Sure.
a little bit like getting any audience, and then that audience liking a particular song or liking a particular style. It sort of ends up becoming a part of, you go back into the studio and you're like, well, everyone liked this. Um,
Right.
and even if it's not completely conscious, you're still subconsciously
So it
going,
kind of
all right,
happens,
well,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You sort of play to the gallery.
Hmm. Has there been a song for you guys that like, you know, you play on tour and you're just kind of like everybody loves it. You're just like, all right, maybe we could do without this one in the set kind of deal. Like, does it ever get to be too much playing
Yeah.
like the mega hits that everybody loves to hear?
It hasn't yet, and I wonder about this with artists who have been going for 10 years plus, like more than us, and have been doing 100 shows a year kind of thing. I always wonder about this because surely at some point, like they must get sick of playing their massive hits.
Right.
But um, for the thing that mitigates it for us is I find every audience to be quite different. Like there's a
Hmm.
different sort of experience to
Yeah.
to each audience. So even though, I mean, yeah, like we've played Hold On probably, couldn't tell you, maybe 500 times at this
Right.
point on stage. Um, despite that, it still is quite fun to play if you've got an audience who is into the song. And that really that's the driving thing, is like if you've got an audience who are like, let's go, like this we want to hear this song. You kind of, in a weird way, you forget that you've done it, you know,
Yeah.
500 times before, and it's just like it's actually fun to watch the audience kind of interact and like sing along and have their moment with the song. So
Hmm.
um, don't get me wrong, there are definitely times where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear, but like, fuck,
Yeah,
I
go
don't
for it.
want to play
Yeah.
this song.
Hmm.
um, but for the
Yeah.
most
I
part,
mean,
it's okay. It's
yeah,
manageable.
like the Killers have to be tired of playing Mr. Brightside, right? Like they just have to be. Like you can only
Right?
play
Like,
it for so many times, and like it's so funny. I've seen them twice now, and they literally just open up with that song. They just get it out of the way. It's hilarious. Um,
yeah,
literally the first song they play is Mr. Brightside. So
that's
get it out
so
of the way
funny.
and then get into the stuff they actually want to play.
I imagine there's probably people who are like, well, saw Mr.
It's
Brightside,
just
cool, I'm
yeah,
out.
head
Like,
out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah.
So you guys have made music for 10 years. I guess for you personally, what is the song that you've put out that you're just like most proud of?
I reckon, um, for me at the moment, it changes. It can change. Sometimes it changes month to month, especially when you're on the road. I'm like, I love this one right now. Really proud of this one right now. Um, so if you were to ask me in another year's time, it'll probably change. But right
Yeah.
now, it's. I think it's for me, it's recognized. Uh, I I'm really proud of that song because it's bit of a departure from our kind of indie folk roots. It lands more in like the kind of Americana heartland rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
The war on drugs and like Sam Fenders of the world. I think I'm proud of it because for a while that idea sat on my hard drive gathering dust, and I was like, I kind of like the idea, but it's never gonna be a Sons of the East song. Like that, it's just not in our wheelhouse. When I sort of brought it to the studio to the boys, we sat there and went through it, and we went, all right, like how do we make this our own? How do we not just make this some kind of like rip off of that genre?
Mhm.
And I feel like we managed to do that pretty well. I mean, other people will definitely be like, "That's just a straight rip of someone else's music," but I think adding like I had this like synth riff that was going through the whole thing, and we we changed that to be a banjo, and which was really weird but kind of cool. And
Yeah.
then we completely rewrote the top line, like the entire melody lyric. We just took everything out and just rewrote it. The whole thing just felt more us, and adding harmonies and that kind of thing. I was just really proud of the place that we got it to because yeah, I was pretty convinced. I was like, this is a cool idea, but no, it's
Not for you
never going
guys.
to be a
Yeah.
Sons of the East song. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I love that you took something that wasn't the genre you guys are comfy in and maybe made it your own. I think that's, well, I mean, I feel like that's what a lot of artists do nowadays is like little bits of this with little bits of that. And, you kind of come up with something that sounds cool. So
yeah.
obviously, I live my life in the music curation space. So I always love asking artists, give me a song or an artist that you've been really into recently.
I have. Oh, where to start? I've I'm real. So coming
You're
off the
good.
back of that just then, I reckon I'm really into Sam Fender, Olivia Dean at the moment. Um, there's
Yeah,
there's an Australian artist called Jem Casadei who is awesome. Um, I've been I know that if Dan was here, he would be talking um, Fontaine's DC like everyone like
mm,
everyone else in the
yeah,
music world at the moment.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
he loves absolutely loving them. Um, I have been who else? Um, I'm just looking at my
You're good.
liked songs. But yeah, I would say also Josiah and the Bonnevilles.
Mm,
Um, he's he's been on our radar and just yeah, great songwriter. Um,
yeah,
love that he's kind of come up essentially on his own as well,
yeah.
um, and just doing it independently, kind of not unlike us. So uh, yeah, there's a couple.
Amazing. Yeah, I love. I mean, big Sam Fender fan, big Olivia Dean fan. I know Josiah. Like we talk every now and again. So yeah, I mean, love. The only one I don't think I knew was the Australian artist. So I'll have to definitely. Uh, my dog is losing her mind. We'll have to check it out. So I guess kind of in closing,
Yeah,
let's talk about what you guys coming up. You got a tour. You got the album's gonna breathe for a little bit. But yeah, what else is coming up?
yeah, we head off on an Australian tour early August, and then head over overseas in late August. So we've got European tour coming up in September, and then over to you guys in North America in October, which is exciting. So, and then after that,
Amazing.
I think we're gonna regroup. We'll probably have a little bit of time off. We're sort of we're throwing around ideas at the moment for new songs. I think it always they're always coming. You know, they're always popping up. So we'll regroup probably beginning of next year and probably start writing the next bunch of songs.
Yeah.
We would love to we would love to maybe do a couple of acoustic versions of some of these songs on the record. Um, would love to show people a bit more of what the live show's about. So whether that's recording a couple and or filming some and that kind of thing. So uh, it's good. It feels like it feels fresh and exciting at the moment for the band, which it's not always the case, especially
Yeah.
after you've been in a band for you know however long it is now, 13 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Amazing.
we're in a good place.
Yeah. I can't wait to see you guys coming up. Hopefully get to catch you when you're over here in the States. And yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. I don't really know what time it is out that way, but appreciate you taking some time out of your day.